Today we're gonna make you an expert in Wilds of Eldraine Draft in less than 6 minutes. Let's go! First, let's talk about the special mechanics found in the new set, some of which you'll remember from previous sets. Adventures makes its way back if you've played the old Eldraine. If you cast the adventure side of the card, you'll put it into exile and then be able to cast the permanent side of the same card. In essence, these cards are 2 cards in one, which makes them very powerful for limited. Another returning mechanic in Wilds of Eldraine is the bonus sheet, which we saw pretty recently with March of the Machines. The bonus sheet is basically a bonus card found in each booster pack, which will be from a different sheet from the normal set. The bonus sheet also means that the general draft pool will have even more rares and potentially even more bombs than a normal draft set. It's actually possible to open now 3 rares in the same pack, one in the regular rare slot, one in the foil slot, and then one in the bonus sheet. This bonus sheet was curated to have synergies with the main set, so be sure to look out for those synergies. As for new mechanics of the set, one of the most prominent ones you'll see are the roll token enchantments. There's a bunch of different kinds of these roll tokens, so it's a really good idea to make sure that you know which roll does what. One of the most important things to note about rolls is that each creature can only have one type of roll. If you add another roll of a different type to that creature, the old one will simply fall off and go to the graveyard and then cease to exist. So, no multi-classing. One of the new keywords of the set is bargain, which is another version of kicker. The additional cost will always be to sacrifice an artifact, enchantment, or a token when you cast the spell. If you choose to pay this extra cost, your spell will be even more powerful. This makes sacrifice fodder really important for the decks that want to get the most out of their bargain cards. Another new keyword in the set is called Celebration. Celebration is an additional effect that happens when 2 or more non-land permanents enter the battlefield under your control. This is a central theme to one of the archetypes, which we'll cover right now. This is a graphic from Wizards which details all the various archetypes of the format. White-blue is Flyer's Tempo, which basically means you're going to be tapping down your opponent's creatures to push through flyers. White-black is written as Bargain Midrange, which really is just getting value out of sacrifice effects. Blue-black is Fairy's Control, which basically wants you to be playing at instant speed as much as possible and being very tricky. Blue-red is, well, spells matter yet again. Black-red is Rat Swarm, which wants you to flood the board with a bunch of rats and attack aggressively, as none of these rat tokens can block. So you'll want pump effects to make sure that your rats can always get value. Black-green is Food Midrange, which wants you to slow down the game, make a bunch of food tokens, and get value out of using those food tokens for various means. Red-green is written as Powerful Monsters, which really doesn't give you a sense of what that archetype is. In fact, I would say that this archetype is very, very loose. There's a couple of cards that care about your power being greater than 4, but aside from that, this is just play bigger stuff than your opponent. Red-white is Celebration aggro. It's the aggro deck of the format. Wow, crazy, I know. And really wants you to get value out of the cards that give you bonus effects for using Celebration. Green-white is about enchanted creatures. You'll be utilizing your roll tokens to buff up your creatures and to get the advantage on the board. Finally, we have green-blue, which is the ramp deck, which wants you to play really big spells and ramp up to them. There's a few cards in the format that care about casting spells of 5 mana value or higher, but honestly, this is a very, very loose archetype. I put together a list of a few bombs that you should be on the lookout for. I think that these cards are very, very powerful and will win you a lot of games if you can cast them, so be on the lookout for these ones. Next, I've put in a bunch of removal at common that are 3 mana or less. I believe that every deck will want to have low cost removal like this, as the aggro decks are going to be very, very fast in this format. Couple tips of things that you should watch out for. Now, it might be a little bit redundant to say watch out for counterspells, but counterspells are particularly important to play around when your adventures just go to the bin if you cast it on the adventure side, and if you cast spells with bargain, you'll sacrifice the thing and get none of the effects. Against the red decks, they have a lot of ways to push through more damage, so be on the lookout for combat tricks. This format also has a bunch of discard effects, so watch out for being too low on cards in hand and maybe keep a few lands in hand just in case. Cards that say destroy, artifact, or enchantment are also way more useful in this format than, say, a normal draft set. Last but not least, I thought it was important to mention that fixing is much weaker in this set. There's a couple of cards that can fix your colors, like Prophetic Prism and the Scarecrow card, which is, a decent way to fix your mana, but there is no common dual land cycle to let you fix easier. As a bonus, I want to include some of my draft dreams for the format. I really, really want to do this, but I think it's almost impossible. But you can get infinite combat steps with Nature's Will and Aggravated Assault, and I just think that would be amazing to pull off in a draft. Overall, the format feels very aggressive and very skewed towards tempo, so if you're playing one of these slower decks, you need to have early removal to deal with the early pressure. Anyways, I hope this guide was helpful. I wish you guys luck on your journey in Wilds of Eldraine. See you guys next time.